What an episode. Let's talk about the latest episode of Chucky Doll on Doll. And you can already check out all my other spoiler reviews on the other episodes of Chucky as well. We've gone over the first season and we've talked about the second season, all the episodes. Definitely check them out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well because we always talk about Chucky here and we definitely cover every episode. We just had a giveaway and we will have another one at 30,000 subscribers. So make sure that you are subscribing below and turn that notification bell on. But let's talk about this episode that just was insanity upon insanity. So the latest episode that we saw was pretty much more about Tiffany and everything going on with Glenn and Glenda. This episode kind of brought everything back to where we were the previous episode when we were going to see the good Chucky be beaten up by the buff Chucky. And so we finally get to see what happens there. The buff Chucky's kind of like trying to figure out what happened to this Chucky, why aren't they on the mission anymore and all of that. They talk about sort of the colonel as well that is responsible for all the things that are happening right now, which we don't know who that is just yet, but by the end of the episode we will. So in this episode, we start off with a fight between the good Chucky and the buff Chucky. Eventually, the good Chucky gets the upper hand and sort of like crucifies the bad Chucky onto the door. And so this is going to cause some problems for Devin later. But we see a rift between Devin and Jake as they are pretty much talking about how can you trust this doll? This doll tried to kill us and all of this. But Jake kind of sees this doll as different. It's changed and all of that. So we have Lexi and Nadine also trying to hide the body of Trevor now. And all of this goes to hell because after they hide the body and they come back, Trevor is missing, his body is gone. So this leads to them trying to figure out what's happening. Jake and Devin as well trying to figure out a plan as to how to move forward with all of this, but also fighting about the Chucky doll not being good and all of that. But they say, hey, let's look into his phone a little bit further. Maybe we can find some more things on it. Devin and Lexi actually find that the doll has left some breadcrumbs of other doll pieces in order to find its way back to wherever it came from. They decide to follow these breadcrumbs and see where this leads. We also see Jake and Nadine give Chucky a baptism and make it a way for him to sort of be like, yeah, you're fully good now. There's no turning back. We then cut as well back to Tiffany, who is in Jennifer Tilly's body, of course. And we see Jennifer Tilly's sister there as well as Glenn. And you see that they're pretty much like fighting Glenn and also Tiffany because they're just like, you need to tell me where Nika and Glenda are. I'm your mother, all of this. And then we sort of start to see everything unravel for Tiffany because Jennifer Tilly's sister is kind of like questioning her and all of this. And then that's when you find out that Jennifer Tilly, the actual Jennifer Tilly, isn't the Tiffany doll being kept locked up by the Tiffany who is in Jennifer Tilly's body. A lot of mess, but I love it. I love how Chucky's so chaotic with everything. But we eventually see that she does get caught in the lie, and so this leads to Tiffany having to kill Jennifer Tilly's sister, and this is done in front of Glenn, who has never seen their mother killed, so it is a big shock to them. And then they are introduced to the doll, Glenn, and Tiffany's pretty much like, yeah, that's who you were, and now this is who you are. We need to explain everything to Glenda and get our family together. And so they set out to find Glenda and Nika wherever they may be, and we see them with the Tiffany doll, who we have Jennifer Tilly inside that doll, and also the Glenn doll, who I don't think has anything inside of it right now. So we'll see what happens with that pretty soon. So I did mention earlier that we had the buff Chucky be crucified by the good Chucky. Eventually the father puts him down and tells one of the sisters to take that Chucky and throw it away. But as we see, the sister kind of gets a sort of feeling about this Chucky and tries to sort of become closer to it, and then it's sort of snapped back to reality by the father. But later that night we see the Chucky rise out of the garbage, and it looks like the sister believes this is some savior or lord of sorts and says they will do whatever they want them to do. So now we got somebody else on the sidelines working for Chucky because we have another secret agent human being who's working for Chucky, which we'll talk about right now, as we see Lexi and Devin make it to all the way to the end of the breadcrumbs, the doll parts, whatever you want to call them, and they meet themselves face to face with Andy with long hair now in a cabin. We see the bodies of the other father as well as Trevor, and then we see bald Chucky here as the colonel, different voice and everything. So I don't know if he went through some amnesia or something, or he's just become this sort of cult leader of sorts for the other Chuckies. But then we see the doctor, who was pretty much the one that made the kids go to this school in the first place, show up and just be like, hey, So big twist, big everything here. We now know that the doctor was behind it all. And remember I said in the episode 1, I don't trust them because they are so like adamant about the kids going into school for some reason. And now we know it's because she wanted them to be closer to Chucky and Chucky being able to do what Chucky's gonna do. So we don't know exactly what the big master plan is here just yet. I believe that there is something maybe with wanting to use these bodies that they're killing in order to transfer their souls and sort of not just be dolls anymore. That's all I can think about right now, especially the reason that they're taking all of the bodies. So I'm curious to see what that exactly will be right here. Also, Nika's plan is definitely something I'm interested in as well. As we know, they are definitely plotting something. I wonder what Kyle also is up to and what exactly is the whole process of this. We know that Nika does still have Chucky's soul in her, and it sort of goes back and forth, so they could be playing a double agent at times. So we don't know how exactly all of this is going to be resolved, but what we do know is that Tiffany and Glenn are on their way. What can happen with the Tiffany doll as well as the Glenn doll, that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see. And also the fact that Glenn and Glenda are not going to be really eye to eye, I feel, because it looks like Glenn is sort of falling for their mother's tricks and all of that. So we definitely know something's going to happen here in this next episode. And I think we're like 3 episodes away from the finale, so we definitely are getting closer and closer to that big finale, because in the next episode we're going to see the school be locked down. There's the buff Chucky and the sister now on his side, so we are definitely getting some interesting stuff here for sure. What are they doing to Andy? What are they doing with the bodies? That is the big question. Like I said, I feel like the other Chuckies are trying to transfer their soul into these humans in order to more liberate the soul of Charles. So very crazy stuff, honestly, if you think about how many times Charles' soul has been split. But we'll see what happens. Is it a Baltimore thing or what, where the more he transfers his soul, the more immortal he becomes? Who knows? But let me know your thoughts, your theories on what do you think is Chucky's master plan here. What is he trying to do with all of these humans, all of the dolls, Andy, because there's a reason they're keeping Andy alive and we don't know exactly what it is. Maybe they're trying to get information about where Kyle is and all of that. Is Glenn and Glenda more familiar with what's actually going on than they're actually given? So I'm very curious to see what happens. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. But as always, that is going to do it for me. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions on it down below. We will be covering it every week. We've been covering all the other episodes. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Hit the notification bell. We have a giveaway coming up at 30,000 subscribers. As we get closer, I'll announce it. And we just had a giveaway winner just recently, and we've already announced that as well. But as always, that's going to do it for me on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. Stay safe. Stay positive. Hey, if you're still listening, really appreciate you making it all the way to the end. We will have a lot of videos coming out tomorrow. We've been very much so trying to get our announcement done, so we definitely have to get this announcement out pretty soon. And yes, it is definitely something that we were going to announce this past Halloween, and now it's November 3rd, so I'm all over the place, but today we will be announcing it, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't already checked out the video, it probably is already online. Just check out the video for a big announcement, and yeah, let me know what you think. We got a lot of more stuff coming this month, and we have a festival we're going to, so pretty exciting stuff. So super excited for all of you to join us, and as always, stay safe, stay positive.